Hey, Tom Castle with the Song of the Week. This is Marlando the Magnificent from this album. We talked about this album, I think, a little bit a couple weeks ago, I think it was. And this was a song by Andre Vilich, who's a shipmate, Matt Gosher, shipmate's really good friend from Traverse City, who lived in Maine, and I think he's back in Traverse City again. Now, the thing about Marlando in the beginning is that whole intro is on a 12-string. It's in the key of D, which means the way I play it, on the 6-string and the 12-string, I think, in this song. So I took the low E, dropped it down, and then the chords are basically but because it's on a 12-string, the 12-string, which is tuned a whole step lower than the standard guitar, at least in my case, instead of playing around with those up to the 14th fret here, because it's capoed, it's actually like the 16th fret. So it was a real problem child to deal with. So that's that. I very seldom use that intro live when I do this song, just because the intonation has to be really good, otherwise it sounds terrible. The other thing that happens with this song is the bass was my trusted and highly prized Bob Gorney Alien bass that he made for me a long time ago. And the drums are actually me too, which I've had drums in my basement since I was in 7th or 8th grade, because my parents were the cool parents that allowed the garage bands to rehearse in the basement. So I always wanted a set of drums, and it wasn't until doing this album that I actually got a chance to do all that. So here's the intro. Let me get this queued up again. Again, this 12-string part is as high as this. And I like this. One of the things I was really hard playing all these tracks against myself. Originally, I had what's called a click track, which is basically a metronome that goes into your earphones and be like bum bum. So I was okay getting the guitar and the bass tracks down, but when it came to drumming, I just couldn't get it. It took take after take after take, and Mr. Kruger, who was the engineer and the owner of the studio, told me a while later, he said, I have no idea how you're going to get those drums on there. And then when I finally did get it together, by basically turning that metronome off and just playing with the rhythm guitar in my headphones, I was able to get pretty darn close. So that's where that came from. And it was a valuable lesson when it comes to that. I no longer sing this in F, and I no longer sound like this.
There's magic wine high in the air. People in the audience just sat on the edge of their chairs. Bated breath, anticipating. He opened his mouth and said the wrong thing. Then Marlando the Magnificent made his true love disappear. Now he hasn't seen her.
Ooh. As you can tell, there is no auto-tune used on these vocals.
Marlando could not believe his eyes. People
my favorite bass lick right there. That.
She was supposed to become a bird, but he used the wrong magic words.
There's a part in here I call the sing-along, and I could never sing harmony, but for some reason on this album, I got to sing harmony with myself, and it just felt really good. Here we go.
Judge's decision went undisputed. He was in quite a bad position.
So it's basically the hi-hat mostly on the drums following the rhythm guitar for the verses, and then this more steady beat for the choruses.
She was supposed to become a bird, but he used the wrong magic words.
When I moved to Madison, was it 14 years ago? I had moved out of a 3-4 bedroom house with a full basement and a music room into a studio apartment. So I had to improvise. I want to thank Mark Croft for babysitting my drums for a year. And thank you for being with me and going over this old song and this old album. It's really, really cool. I was hoping to get this song out this weekend, and well, Mariah's out of town. She's at she's doing a class at the North House Folk School, and you know, when I'm left to my own ways, I kind of lose track of the days. So, especially during these times when there's very little work on the weekends. But I will be, next thing coming up, that's open to the public anyway, is, of course, Joe Hill, Live as You and Me at the Dark Horse Art Bar on April 7th. And again, it's one of those things that's really opened my eyes when it came to that time, turn of the last century, and the industrial workers of the world and what labor was like back in those days. And it includes private armies, strings being pulled by John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie, and all kinds of songs. Joe Hill turned a lot of pop songs and religious songs into protest songs. And not just protest, but commentary on what life was like back then. There are some phenomenal stories in this play, and hope you can make it. The link's on tomcastle.com/calendar, and I do hope you can make it. It's really neat. I'll put the date for the Midnight Cocktail Concert, the March edition of that. I'll put that in the email that comes out to you from Patreon. And again, if you have an Irish song especially, but any song, request. I think I have the Fields of Athenry for one of you, so don't be shy to request any tunes for, I think it's March 24th, but I'll put it down in the message anyway. Guys, thank you so much for being Patreon patrons. It really means a lot to me. And if you have suggestions for this thing, for the song of the week, you're like, where did that song come from? Or why the hell do you sing that so high? Whatever it is, just send it. So, and as always, we're not out of the COVID woods yet. So don't forget, keep safe, keep in touch. And thank you so much for being a Patreon patron.